Thank you, Pana. We will now hear from Ms. Rose Lakana.
Good morning, honorable judges, Mr. Chairman, and worthy opponents. Within each state, there are a few expectations of the minimal legal drinking age, the MLDA. However, they are not considered legal. 45 states have constructed 8 laws, varying per state, allowing for the consumption of alcohol by minors in different degrees of society. For instance, the most common exception is practiced in 29 states, including Massachusetts and New York, is allowing the consumption of alcohol on private, non-alcohol selling premises with parental consent and presence. Bearing this in mind, many may question the exception on this rule because the most common non-alcoholic selling premise is church. For many years, churches have used grape juice for communion, but recently the session has begun to look on the issue of using wine either in place or in addition to grape juice. The consumption of alcohol for religious means by minors is considered legal in 26 states. Many states implemented the harm minimizing policies, suggesting that allowing minors to consume alcohol with parental supervision is beneficial to the adolescents. For example, there are various online websites such as Harm Reduction for Alcohol, otherwise known as HAMS, that serves as a peer-led and free of charge support group on information for anyone who wants to change their drinking habits for the better. On this website, the leaders attempt to inform people on safer places to battle their addiction. The minors will begin to develop safe alcohol practice by learning responsibilities issued from the dangerous effects of alcohol, guiding them onto a path to becoming a functional adult in society. To reiterate the importance of introducing alcohol at a younger age, observational experiments and studies show results benefiting the young adults. For alcohol use and harms illustrates the nature of youth in different alcohol settings, showing favorable results towards liquor when introduced with parental guidance at a younger age. Various studies display the key to properly integrating alcohol into minor society. Lowering the federal drinking age would thus allow minors to grasp an opinion with alcohol with experience and knowledge beforehand before entering into college that in return will hopefully lower the average of 1,828 student deaths per year with alcohol abuse. With the correct precautions and enforcement, the drinking age should be reduced so that alcohol-related deaths and health risks can substantially decrease. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. We will now hear from Ms. Emma Jackson.
Mr. Chairman, honorable judges, and worthy opponents, I stand before you today to justify how lowering the federal drinking age to 18 would be a detriment to the physical health of young adults. First, consuming alcohol from a young age poses a threat to the liver. Young adults who participate in excessive drinking put a tremendous strain on the liver's vital functions. Its responsibility is to metabolize nutrients and rid the body of toxins, and by affecting these functions, young adults are vulnerable to illness and even death. Research shows that young adults who drink alcohol are also prone to elevated liver enzymes, an indicator of liver damage. Those who are overweight or obese show symptoms of damage even with moderate levels of drinking. The most pressing liver issue occurs in those who begin drinking at an early age and continue drinking into adulthood. The progressive consumption of alcohol puts them at a much higher risk for developing future liver problems. Second, young adults are uniquely sensitive to alcohol's effects because major changes are occurring in their brains. Drinking even a moderate amount of alcohol can damage the hippocampus, the part of the brain that enables you to learn and remember. When alcohol reaches the hippocampus, people find it hard to remember things. If damaged, it becomes difficult to learn and retain information. A young adult's hypersensitivity to alcohol's effects makes blackouts, the inability to remember entire events, a commonality among this age group. A survey of 500 college students conducted by Duke revealed that over 50% of the students had experienced blackouts. Drinking is also known to damage brain tissue. White matter of the brain is important for transmitting information between brain cells. If you take a look at the brain scans that I handed you, the white matter of young drinkers shows small marks in red, an indication of poor quality and poor communication between cells compared to that of a non-drinker. Lastly, youthful organs are extremely susceptible to alcohol poisoning, the potentially fatal result of drinking an excessive amount of alcohol in a short period of time. Alcohol slows down the body's functions, such as breathing, heart rate, and gag reflex, an effect developing organs are extremely sensitive to. Young adults are quickly impaired by the consumption of alcohol, and without aid, poisoning can eventually lead to respiratory or cardiac arrest and even death. For these reasons, lowering the drinking age to 18 would pose a serious threat to the health of young adults and should not be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. We will now hear from Ms. Heather Flokus.
Good morning and thank you, Honorable Chairman, esteemed judges, worthy opponents, and fellow colleagues. I stand before you today to further stress that lowering the federal drinking age to 18 is the correct path for the United States. First off, it would be extremely beneficial to the economy. Overall, with more consumers buying alcohol, there would be more money flowing through the economy. For one, the government would be able to collect greater amounts of tax revenue with more alcohol sales. In addition, business owners of bars and restaurants would receive more profit from more customers buying alcohol. And finally, with an increase in demand, there would be more job opportunities. For example, in the farming industry, with more crops needing to be grown for more alcohol, there would be more jobs. There would be more transportation jobs because more alcohol and supplies would need to be delivered across the nation. And there would be more jobs in the construction industry with more breweries needing to be expanded and made. Furthermore, lowering the legal drinking age would help national security. This stems from the practice of underage drinkers procuring fake IDs. In a study of 1,000 college students, it was found that 2/3 of the participants used at least once during college a fake ID to buy alcohol. Their support of counterfeiting enterprises, in addition to the hundreds of thousands of fake IDs they already have circulating, increases national security threats. False IDs are now horrifyingly easy to procure for anyone with access to an internet and about $50 to $500. As a result, many groups opposing national security have taken advantage of this. Many illegal immigrants have been living in the United States with false identification, so many so that Immigrations and Customs Enforcement has had to construct a forensics document lab in order to combat the problem. In addition, many terrorists can and have used false identification. For example, the 9/11 terrorists used 30 different fake IDs. By lowering the legal drinking age, many less people would pursue false identifications. Therefore, far fewer will be circulating, and counterfeiting enterprises will receive a decrease in support. Enacting this change would greatly better the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. We will now hear from our last speaker, Ms. Kira Dorr.
Good morning, esteemed Mr. Chairman, honorable judges, and worthy opponents. I know that students have wanted to visit said teacher's bar once they turn 18 and graduate. There's a reason why this is illegal. Alcoholism is a very serious matter that has already touched so many lives. It is defined as a substance use disorder in which the sufferer cannot manage how much alcohol they consume. And as a result, the sufferer has problems managing their life. Changing the drinking age to 18 would allow for a bigger population to be exposed to alcoholism and its effects. Teens across the country already experience alcoholism, but making the drinking age lower would make it much worse than in the sense of health problems in teens as well as adults. According to the Medicine Net and several other credible sources, 5,000 people die each year from alcohol-related incidents. Let that sink in. 5,000 people who died that shouldn't have. If the federal drinking age is lowered, that number would increase because more people have direct access to alcohol. Research also shows that brain development continues well into a person's 20s. This means that beginning to drink alcohol prior to this age would stunt brain development greatly. Despite this finding, adolescents begin drinking at very young ages. As of 2003, the average age of first use for alcohol was about 14, 7 years before someone is legally able to drink, began drinking, and 7 years to more heavily stunt brain development. It's also a fact that people who reported starting to drink before the age of 15 were 4 times more likely to also report being alcohol dependent at some point in their lives. But this is clearly just not an issue in teens. Adults are also greatly affected by alcoholism. Common health problems in adults such as diabetes, congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, liver problems, etc. can be worsened due to alcoholism. When a person also takes medicines for these health problems, it is possible that the medication, when mixed with alcohol, is extremely dangerous. The body's tolerance for alcohol also lowers with age, so people experience the effects of alcohol more quickly as adults than they do as teenagers. This puts adults at a higher risk for falls, car crashes, and other unintentional injuries that may result from drinking due to this lower tolerance. For some people, alcoholism is a family problem directly linked to genetics. It has been discovered that being a child of an alcoholic or having a family history of alcoholism places a person at a much greater risk for alcohol problems later in life. This can be due to slight differences in the brain and could be detected earlier using high-tech brain imaging techniques to look at brainwave patterns and structure. Now, if the federal drinking age is lowered, the alcoholism rates will go up. Save as many people as we can from this disease to begin with, and keep the federal drinking age at 21. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you all for your speeches. Honorable Mr. Chairman, esteemed opponents, and worthy judges, this concludes the constructive speeches of our first Honors 20th Century History debate. Thank you all for your time.